Welcome back to Sustainable Growing Solutions. I've just been preparing my vegetable garden for this year's growing season. I do a no-dig vegetable garden, and it's also weed-free at the end of this. Right now this is covered in weeds, but I don't worry about that because I mulch over the top of this with cardboard and then a layer of wood chips, so it kills all of the weeds. And I actually like the weed growth. Right now it's covered in weeds, and I'm actually happy about that because it's providing a green manure of sorts. And when I put the cardboard down over the top of it, the weeds will die over a period of weeks. But every so often, it's been about 3 years, because this is a no-dig garden, if I don't aerate it every few years, it can get quite compacted, which it is now. I have heavy clay soil, and it does tend to compact. And if you want to grow decent vegetables, you need an aerated, loose soil. But I don't dig it or turn the layers of the soil over. I don't do that for a good reason. Every time you turn over the soil, if you turn the top layers down into the lower layers, the life that lives in just the couple inches on the surface, it will kill them, and you're losing biodiversity as far as life forms go in the soil. And the point of having a no-dig garden is to preserve life in the soil, because ultimately that leads to healthier and better vegetables, or whatever you're growing, if you're growing flowers or whatever. In this case, I'm growing vegetables. So the way I do that, I use this tool, which is called a broad fork, and it's like a large fork, and it's broad, it's wide, and the tines on it are longer than a fork. Let me just show you a fork here. This is a standard fork, and the tines are, they're all right, but if you use a fork to aerate, it's not going down as deep as a broad fork would, and it's not as easy a job either. With the broad fork, you put it in like this. It's very simple. It takes a little while. This whole garden, it's a big garden, and I'll show you some footage of it afterwards. It's quite large. This broad forking takes me on my own about 2 days to do, but I don't do it every year. I do it every 2 or 3 years. So I'll just show you how I do this. It's pretty simple. So this is a bed here. This is the last bed. I've done the rest of the garden, and this is the last one, so I thought I'd just show you. Basically, you stab it in, and you stand on it. Because I'm small, I have to jump. And you push it in, and then you pull back to bring it up. But it's not mixing any of the layers. And then you're always working backwards. So then I go back just a couple of inches, and I do the same thing and repeat that over and over. Like that. And then I'll do that over the whole bed. And then I'll go this direction, and then I'll switch, and I'll do like a diagonal, and I'll go this way, like that, all the way down this side and all the way down that side, and then I'll switch again, and I'll turn it this way, diagonal, back and forth on both sides, and then that's aerated, but it's not mixing any of the layers of soil, and that's really what I am concerned about. So this is my vegetable garden. I've got actually 2 sides and a big strip down the middle with a tunnel. So I'm just working on I've started over here. I've worked all the way back and all the way around and started back there, and then I've worked my way down this side, and this is my last bed. I'll just show you the difference it broad forking makes. I'll just come up here and show you one of the beds, how it compares to not having it broad forked. Here, we'll look at this one here. So this is, I don't know if you can tell, but this is one of the beds that I did, and this right here is the pathway, and I don't know if you can see in this video, but this is the bed, and it's much more humped up than the floor by it. But I've done that on all the beds, and something to remember, after you've broad forked, you see I have these boards here. I walk on these boards because once you've broad forked the ground, you don't want to walk on it. That would defeat the purpose of doing the whole thing. So it's, it becomes a no dig, but also a no walk area, because you've just gone to the trouble of aerating that, so you don't want to stand on it. So designate walking areas, and I just do that with these old wooden boards, and I've done that on all of my beds. So once you've dug them, don't stand on them. I'll just go through and I'll do this bed, and I'll speed it up so you don't have to watch for too long. So I've gone one direction diagonal. Now I'm going to turn and go the other direction in a different way. Okay, that's it. That's the bed done. I just wanted to say something else about, maybe you still have some questions of why I leave my weeds. So the goal of a no-dig system is partially to maintain the life forms in the soil, because ultimately that leads to healthier plants. So you can think of this like a giant worm farm or a giant. When I put my mulch over the top of it, which will be cardboard, all of this green is going to die, but also become a food source for the animals in the soil that we want to keep, like worms and all the other microbes. These are parts from last year's corn. I leave it. All of this stuff, I don't remove anything from my beds. Everything stays in place, because if you take any of this away, then you're essentially taking away nutrients and food sources for your little mini beasts in the soil that you want to keep alive, so that they keep producing manure, fresh manure, on a constant supply for your plants. So this is all food for my little pets, if you will, that live in the soil, that feed my plants.